Hi everyone, welcome to another video in Data Stream Academy. Today on day 5, we are going to talk about how can you think like a leader, right? So this is a 5-day series which I have planned, and this is the 5th day I'm going to talk about leadership. Earlier in 4 days we talked about problem solving, how you approach a problem, you can be a better team player, like how you can survive in this AI era, all these things, right? So in this topic, I would be mainly covering like how you can think like a leader, right? You may have often noticed that if you're an individual contributor and meeting a leader, they give you an entirely different perspective, right? Like when you go with a solution, they'll say, no, it may not work because so and so reason. So how that what made them to think that way, right? How they are thinking, how they are constructing that thought process. That is what going to cover. We are going to cover today. Is like there are a couple of points I have listed that for you all. Without wasting much time, I'll start with the first one. That is like thinking systems, not silos. So if you are a developer who is an individual contributor, you might look at just your problem, which you have to solve from your perspective, and you come up with solution. But when you go to the leader with the solution, they will say, okay, this might work, but not for here because this might impact other team cost. So when you become a leader, right, you don't just start about that particular performance issue or not that particular solution. You start thinking about how this product work, or like how this is going to impact the organization, how this is going to add value to the organization or this product. It is not just fixing a small query or anything, right? The value add, the benefit, the challenges, the trade-offs, everything would be go through a leader. Because when a leader is the leader just not talk about or think about that particular issue, they start thinking as a system. That is what the first point says, like think in a system, not in a silos. Because if you're working on a small piece of code, you always focus on that, right? But when you go to a leader has no idea like what you have done, and like they all wanted to know, okay, what is the solution, how this is going to impact, right? That is why you might often experience leaders would ask about impact and they are less worried about the code. And second thing which leader always think about outcome, right? You may have noticed that a leader says you that okay, I don't care how you do, but make sure that this is what you have to be improving the performance of the code. Then often we can review the activities, because leaders always look for the outcome and solution and impact, not how you reach there. That is where like AI is adding value here, right? Because no one is going to stick on you and say that unless and until the organization have restrictions. Nobody will tell you that you should always write codes by thinking through without using Google AI or anything, right? Nobody tells you unless and until that is an exam, right? Because everyone looks for outcomes. Because nobody want, when there are efficient way to deliver something, there is no point in restricting people to use like not to use that and wasting a lot of time to deliver something. So that is what everyone looks for outcome, right? When you start thinking about, when you deliver something, right, when you're going to pitch the product or like the solution which you built, you should start talking in a different way, right? No, rather than telling that, okay, I have been working on so and so things, I fixed this, I did that, right? You start like talk like a leader, how a leader might have talked, right? They will say, okay, I did something and the outcome is this, and this improve the performance of this query 10 times better, or like this is helping people to like instead of doing all these steps manually, this particular step help people to automate it, save time. So you are talking about the delivery solutions, outcome, the impact which you are making, right? You don't need to explain about the activities never ever be a matter when a leader look at it. And I want you to start talking about in the same way. Make decisions with incomplete information. This is little tricky, but let me explain, right? So if you keep wait for this entire information to be derived, right, you always keep waiting, and that is the worst thing which you could do, you being leader. So you should start thinking about, okay, I got some information. What might be the leadership or the top management is expecting, or like, like what are the decisions which I can make based on the information I got? What are the possibilities which I can place, right? So based on the input I got, okay, these are the options which we can think through. You can list that out and eliminate some of these options and come up with, so that like with the incomplete information you still derive something out of it, right? Because everything start with the thought process, and like when that pass and reached out to you, it is not necessarily like you get a spoon feeding way that what needs to be done, right? That is not the case, right? We have to understand, okay, what they need. You can definitely ask more questions, try to get input, but waiting for getting more information to deliver something is the worst thing a leader could ever do. So you should always be driving it what you got, but always go back, validate, and try to clarify, right? Because you don't need to get some incomplete information, deliver something which is no longer needed, right? Validation always add value, but waiting for the entire information is not the right way to be a leader, right? Again, balance business needs with technical reality. This is something which I kind of covered in yesterday, but still, right? When we are going to deliver something, right, we should always talk about a trade-off in some cases, because business, when you start delivering things, right, business have a higher expectation. They might come back and tell you something which you think it is technically not that easy. I won't say not feasible, because everything is feasible in today's era, but it may not be straightforward, right? So that is where like you have to, because when you being a leader, your responsibility is not just technical delivery, right? You are also equally responsible for the business. When you have conversation, you need to understand, okay, what value add this is going to give to business. So what are the trade-off? What are the better way to deliver it, right? Because business always focus on getting best, which is adding value to business, and technical team look at, okay, what best they can deliver on the technical feasible side. But you being leader have to be the bridge between both, and think through and provide a solution that add value to business at the same time, like what is possible in this era, right? Few years ago AI was not there, some of these automation tools were there. I think automation was not that easy, right? Things have changed. So some of these things in during those periods, like I had this experience to educate my business owners that, okay, this is not the way it can be delivered at this point. But I always one thing which I always follow is like, I try to make them understand that I will never say my business owners that this is not possible, because that is not something which we could say, right? Because there are areas which we have no idea about. There might be opportunities, so we should always say this is what we could do based on the current limitation, but we are exploring. We can come back and we can spend more time, get help from other technical forums and all these places, and come back and close that topic, right? So here what I was telling is like, you should have that balance between technical and business delivery, so which help you to like everyone aligned on the system. Communicate the impact, not just the detail. It is same similar to the outcome activity thing, right? When you talk in a meeting, the first thing which you should always bring everybody in your hook is like telling them the impact, right? What you are delivering with this solution, like what impact are you making this system, right? Nobody is worried about, okay, you used like .NET microservices, SQL Server, MongoDB. Nobody is so much worried about like what technology you use, right? When somebody looks at it, okay, you build something, what is the impact, right? What is the use case? What value add, or what problem are you solving? When you start talking or when you start presenting something, just keep this in mind. The first thing which you have to tell somebody is the impact, right? Then you go into detail if people are interested. When you have time, take all those details, but in one line tell like what you are giving, so that like, because you may have a different types of audience when it goes to discussions and meeting, right? You have never know how busy they are. If you are not able to hook them on the very first statement, it is very difficult to get their attention. And today, like we are going in an era where it's like attention span is very short for everybody, right? So tell the impact so that like people say, okay, how they have made this impact, right? How they are automating this, how they are saving this like couple of hours of a developer, right? So now you know like there is something. Then people start listening to you. Then you can go in more detail and tell them the information, right? Now, being a leader, you should be always taking additional responsibilities or additional responsibilities than your role. Maybe in some cases, like you being me being a data engineering manager, like when I was working in this role, so I had this responsibility to work with the team. There might be like front end developers, QA, all these things. It is not necessary I am just responsible for the data, right? I should also be taking the additional responsibility and asking questions, reviewing the system to provide the right input when needed to make sure that the product is delivered in a good quality. It is not like, so that is how a leader should be. A leader should be thinking beyond their role, thinking beyond their system, and tell them that okay, these are the probabilities, and take some responsibilities, delegate some responsibilities, so that like you will be able to move to next level, right? If you are a senior, of if you are somebody who is looking for a to become a leader, right? Everybody will be a leader over the period, but you have to develop these skills earlier so that like you know how you are being a better one, or like how you are changing your level. So your thought process, your communications, all these things matter. And one interesting, it is more of an emotional intelligence, that is stay calm under pressure. Like you might see like problems all around. Like when you become a leader, you are not just responsible for your work, you are responsible for whomever you are under you, right? So what you would do, right? When there is a problem coming, yes, problem would definitely come, because it's not necessarily it's your mistake. It can be because like there is no proper process follow, or maybe like your team member is not following the process, your team member is not up to date with the technology. It can be anything, right? So what you have to do first is like come, understand the situation, like how you approach the problem. The day 4 topic would really help you if you watch again on these things. But stay calm, understand like okay, what is this problem, how well I can deliver it, is it possible? Maybe you may have an extra pressure, so how what I can do, because you should never be passing this pressure to your dev team to make them more complicated. You should help them to reduce the pressure, support them. When somebody comes to you for a support, make sure that you listen to them, support them, or you provide them a solution. You should never be saying that okay, you go and find it. No, you give them the direction. Either give them the direction, or delegate this to somebody, or yourself solve the problem. So why this is important? You being a leader should make sure that they get the support. Tomorrow when somebody is stepping into your cabin and asking you like, can you help me, they believe that you help them, right? When being a leader, you should have that connection, and people should say okay, if I go with a problem, this person is going to give me a solution, or definitely give me how I can move forward. Because people comes to you when they are stuck, you shouldn't be like letting them to go and think, because they already stuck and they tried their best and they are not able to move forward. That's why they are in front of you. Keep that thing in mind. And beyond like what you, like you may have your own work, but along with that, keep that like you are supporting team to go to next level, right? The last point, build people, uh, not dependency, right? So when I say that like by doing this, even this video, I'm trying to do the same. We should build people, not dependency. Like I'll explain that in a different way. Like your goal is not to say that okay, every team member should come to me and get support from me. No, your plan is to like create people like you, right? If you think that okay, I'm a better leader, find team members from you and create leaders like you, so that like when somebody comes, you would be able to delegate these people, so you can expand, right? So what is the goal? You have to bring create a bigger team, so you can like support more people, guide more people. So don't create dependency, build people like you, so that like juniors can reach out to them and solve problems, guide them, right? So you may have to take hard decisions being leader, but at the same time stay calm, understand that we all are here for one reason. This is one common statement which I tell my team is like, we all are come for a same reason to deliver a quality product. So that all are equally responsible. You being leader, you are also not just responsible product, you are also responsible people, all delivery, all these things. But every individuals are responsible for the work they have to do, deliver in a quality. And leaders are creating a system to have them work comfortably. So everyone should have that thought in mind, so that like everyone would be responsible for the time and delivery, right? And I'm just winding up this session just with a statement like, leaders are trusted for judgment, not for knowledge. Because it is not like you have like 10 technologies, 20 technology. That is not a leader would be, right? When somebody comes to you, if you are able to solve their problem, or if they are able to guide them correctly, or if they are able to bring a different thought in their head, that is a leader should do. For that, it is not like you need to have a deep understanding about everything, but you should be able to understand how the system work, how the system are evolving. So like what kind of thought process, what kind of skill your team need, right? Give them the direction. So a leader should be somebody who direct the people to the right direction, and helping them to grow, right? So with that, thank you for watching. Stay tuned, and we'll see you on the next video.